It was a huge golf weekend. We had a broken driver, mid-round stretching, a drivable par 4 to clinch the win, a new USAM champ, a new PGA Championship champ, and the same LPGA champ. This is Send It with all the hottest topics in golf this week with two very special guests. All right, we've got Adam Stanley and Gary Van Sickle as my guests this week. Thank you guys so much for joining. What a weekend it was in golf. Ultimately, we had Collin Morikawa emerge from the pack last Sunday to win the PGA. What will you remember most from the PGA Championship this year?
Well, I think the shot of the year from Collin Morikawa is probably going to be the standout thing from Sunday. I mean, it was a horse race with 7 or 9 guys all holding a piece of the lead late, and then Collin Morikawa kind of steps up and hits a shot that shows his maturity well beyond his 23 years of age. You know, takes driver, and he admitted afterwards that he's not the longest of hitters, but you know, the drive that he hit, it was about 298 yards, and it's just a perfect drive for him. So, you know, steps up to that 16th tee, knocks one down there to 7-8 feet, I think it was, and rolls in the eagle putt to eventually pull away from everybody on a very busy Sunday. So he eventually won him the tournaments.
Without a doubt. I think one of the biggest things, everyone said it was a course for the long bombers, correct? But on that specific hole, I thought it was interesting because some of your long bombers are going to hit it over the green with a driver, and it's a little iffy for their 3-wood and other clubs, but it just set up so perfect for him to drive it right on to the green. Gary, what about you? What stood out most in the PGA Championship?
Yeah, it's hard to forget that shot, but if you look at it, other than DeChambeau, all the other big hitters kind of messed that hole up. Yeah, the shot was, as Frank Nobile said, the shot of his life. It was great. I think I'm going to remember the Brooks Koepka kind of trolling Dustin Johnson after the third round, and then both of them going down in flames, especially Koepka. I wondered, I'd like to say maybe his hip was hurting him, except his stats were pretty good. He just didn't get it done in the greens. The only funny thing about that is, if you look back, he wasn't wrong about what he said about Dustin Johnson. Great, frustrating microcosm of golf. Almost everybody walked away in that thing going, oh, I could have, should have won that. I had it. I was right there because it was such a log jam. They didn't win. Morikawa did. For sure. I think one of the biggest things that stood out for me was that Steph Curry was there and I didn't get an invite. So that kind of hurt just a little bit, but I wanted to be a fan as well. But the most interesting thing about Morikawa is that he has more wins than missed cuts. And I think that's something absolutely tremendous. So what do you make of his future? And is this the start of a future Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly gotten off to a heck of a start when he has only missed one cut in his professional career. It's very difficult to predict what someone's future is going to look like, especially at 23 and barely 18 months out of college. But for right now, and given his golf swing, which is, I might argue, the best looking one on tour, there's no real reason why he should be slowing down. He's 5th in the world already. And an interesting thing I saw on Twitter is that he's not only now the defending PGA champion, but he's also the defending Pac-12 champion from his time in university. So he's looking pretty good right now.
For sure. Gary?
Well, it's funny. If this COVID pandemic keeps shutting down college sports, he's liable to be defending Pac-12 champion for a couple more years. Morikawa's, I read online, one of the companies, the equipment companies, in their launch monitor on club testing or on equipment testing, Morikawa's 6-iron dispersion was equal to almost everybody else's pitching wedge dispersion, and he's already ahead of the game. I mean, what's not to like about Collin Morikawa's swing? He just has it all.
It's definitely going to be a fun career to watch. Okay, last but not least, this past weekend was really big for women's golf. We had a new USAM champion on the women's side, and we also had Danielle Kang pull out the win again. She defeated Lydia Ko on the last hole. Lydia's had a lot of ups and downs these past couple of years. What do you think she needs to do to get back in the winner's circle, and will she get back in the winner's circle?
Well, I think Lydia Ko has just started working with Sean Foley, so I think her ongoing search for a swing coach and a caddy and all that stuff, I think is continuing. Sean Foley has, of course, led guys like Tiger Woods and Justin Rose for a number of years. I'm not 100% sure if he's kind of overseen all that many golfers on the LPGA Tour side of things, but in that golf tournament, and we would be talking about something very, very different today. So I think that is a positive thing for her to know that when she's in the mix. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lydia Ko play well again as the season chugs along, but how about Danielle Kang and her start to this return? 2 straight victories, bunch of confidence, and just looks like she's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Name a golfer who hasn't kicked away a big lead and lost, something they shouldn't have won. Again, we can go back to our old pal, Dustin Johnson. Remember that U.S. Open at Pebble Beach where total meltdown and he shot 82. Now, it's a little different. She was on top of the game, and this is kind of the reconstruction era. 5-shot lead and could win. So she knows it's there. This stuff happens. That's golf. It's why it's cruel. It's why we all hate it. It's why we all love it. Just keep going on, and you'll get another chance.
And Alexis, you had mentioned about the U.S. Women's Amateur as well. How about that finish? The event going into extra holes, one of the longest ever. And I was personally shocked that Rose gave Gabby that putt on the final hole.
Yes.
Said, hey, let's just keep playing. But I guess karma worked in her favor because Gabby ended up missing a pretty short putt there as well for Rose to end up winning the U.S. Women's Amateur. So no real surprise considering both of their pedigrees, but
for sure. It's going to be exciting to see what the future of women's golf looks like with all these incredible players. I'll be excited to talk to you guys or some other guests about that next week, but thanks for tuning in to Send It,